No one ever really warns you about the kind of heartbreak that doesn't come with shouting matches or some dramatic ending. The kind that leaves no scars you can see, just a silence that slowly suffocates. The deepest pain creeps in quietly, when someone you love looks at you like they don't really see you anymore. I met Emily 5 years ago in a little bookstore cafe. She was by the window, completely absorbed in the bell jar, sipping black coffee with a kind of peaceful smile that made it feel like the world had stopped around her. We ended up talking for hours that day. It felt like we'd met before, in some other life. She had this captivating mix of calm elegance and unpredictable fire, warmth with a hint of distance. I didn't stand a chance. I fell fast, and I didn't hold anything back. In the beginning, being with her felt like finally arriving home. She'd send little messages just to say she missed me. We'd make dinner together, fall asleep in each other's arms, dance slowly in the kitchen to old-school R&B. She used to curl into me at night and whisper that she felt the safest with me. I believed her. That connection, that closeness, became the center of everything for me. But it didn't fall apart in a loud or obvious way. It was slow, like water leaking from a small crack. At first, I thought she was just tired, that work was draining her. So I tried harder. I made her favorite meals, picked her up after work, left little notes for her to find. I didn't want anything big, just to feel like we still mattered to each other. But even the smallest gestures started to make her flinch. A kiss on the cheek in the morning, and she'd subtly pull away. Her hugs felt mechanical. At night, she'd face the other way and say she wasn't in the mood to talk. I told myself to be patient, not to be needy. Maybe she just needed space. But something felt off. The silence at dinner, the emptiness in her eyes when I said, "I love you." The absence of those easy moments we used to share. About a month before it fully fell apart, I tried to bridge the gap. I came home with Thai food and wine, thinking maybe we could reconnect. She was curled on the couch, staring at her phone. I sat next to her and asked softly, "Can we talk?" She didn't get angry. She didn't even look up. Just said, "What now?" Like I was bothering her. I told her it felt like I was losing her, that I didn't know how to fix it anymore. She gave a small shrug and said, "I don't know what you want from me." That hurt in a way no yelling ever could. I wasn't looking for drama, just something, anything, that showed she still cared. But she didn't. Or at least she didn't show it. And I stayed. Maybe because I still loved her. Maybe because I was afraid to admit what I already knew. The real end didn't come with a fight. It happened one quiet Sunday. We were getting ready to see her parents for brunch, something we used to look forward to. I cleaned up, sprayed on the cologne she once said made her feel safe. She was wearing that navy blouse I always loved. As we were leaving, I leaned in for a simple kiss. Nothing dramatic. Just something small and real. She stepped back, looked me in the eye and said, "Don't kiss me." No explanation. No emotion. Just cold distance, like I was someone she barely tolerated. I stood there, hand half raised, unsure what to say. I didn't argue. Didn't laugh it off. Just nodded, grabbed my keys and left. I didn't go to brunch. I drove aimlessly for hours, trying to make sense of what just happened. I ended up at a cliffside spot we once visited, where we had made big, happy plans for our future. That day, I sat alone and accepted what I hadn't wanted to admit. I had already lost her. A long time ago. I just didn't want to see it. After that, something in me shut down, not with anger but with a quiet resignation. I never brought it up again. I didn't chase her affection. I stopped starting conversations. I stopped reaching for her hand at night. Our lives became quiet routines, like two people simply sharing a space. No kisses. No warmth. Just silence. And for once it didn't hurt. It felt like clarity. She began to notice. I'd catch her watching me as I made breakfast or hummed to myself. She went through my phone once, something she'd never done before. Another time she wore makeup even though we were just staying in. It was subtle, but something in her had shifted. She started cooking meals I used to love, the ones she hadn't made in forever. I said thank you, but I didn't open up. She asked if I wanted to grab brunch like old times. I told her I already had plans. That Saturday I drove north, wandered alone through the woods, sat by a lake, and for the first time, I didn't feel empty. I felt peace. When I came home, she was on the couch in that gray sweater I always said looked good on her. A candle was burning. Soft music playing. It was clear she had put effort into the moment. She looked up and asked where I'd been. I shrugged. Just out. With who? Just me. She seemed like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. And I didn't invite her in. That had become our rhythm. Her reaching, me staying still. 2 days later, as I walked past the bed, fresh from a shower, she reached out and touched my arm. You smell good, she said. Thanks, I replied and kept walking. That's when it started to break for her. She began texting me during the day. Little messages like hope your day's going well, or want to grab dinner later. I answered, always polite, but I never reached first. I let her live in the silence I had been living in for so long. The ache lingered, the same question, the same silent longing, left unanswered. But deep down, I had already mourned her. The woman I once adored had slowly disappeared before I ever began pulling back. The one who used to sing softly while cooking, who once looked at me like I was her entire world, she was gone. What remained was someone trying to rebuild something she herself had dismantled. Then one night, while I was in bed scrolling through my phone, a message popped up. She was just in the next room. The notification lit the screen. Emily, I miss us. I wasn't shocked. In a way, I felt affirmed. She finally understood what she had done. She had distanced herself, closed herself off, turned cold, and still assumed love would remain. But things had shifted. What she once dismissed had become what she now craved. The next morning, she made coffee for both of us. She placed the cup in front of me, sat across the table, and quietly said, I know I've been distant. I want to fix this. I looked at her, truly looked. She was still beautiful, but something essential had dimmed, and I couldn't unsee it. I had changed. I gave a small smile, sipped the coffee, kissed her forehead, a kiss I once would have longed for, and simply said, we'll talk soon. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't a promise either. Now it was her turn to wait. And there's a quiet kind of heartbreak in realizing someone who once waited for you has stopped. I saw it unfold, not with fights or drama, but through subtle shifts. She began trying. Lit old candles, wore the perfume I used to love, laughed too hard at my jokes, brushed my arm as if nothing had changed. But everything had. We were no longer those people. I remembered when things truly broke. It wasn't with anger. It was the moment she turned away from a kiss and said, Don't kiss me. That cut the deepest. Still, she tried to fix it. Long texts filled with apologies and memories. I don't know why I shut you out. You were always good to me. I miss falling asleep next to you. I read them. I didn't ignore her, but I didn't offer her the comfort she wanted either. My heart was no longer reachable. Eventually, she asked if I'd go out with her. I agreed, not out of hope, but for closure. We ended up at the same bar where we'd had our second date. I remembered how she wore that red dress back then, sipped sangria, and dreamed aloud about her photography business. She had laughed freely then. Now she wore the same red dress, but her laughter was stiff. Her words were filled with regret, not dreams. Midway through her drink, she reached across the table and held my hand. I pushed you away because I was scared, she said. You loved too deeply. It overwhelmed me. I didn't flinch, but I didn't squeeze her hand either. I understand, I said. Her eyes searched mine. I want us back, she whispered. I held her gaze. Emily, I asked you so many times what was wrong. You pushed me aside every time. Do you remember what you said right before brunch that day? Her head dipped. I do. You told me, don't kiss me. And not because you were tired or stressed. You said it like the thought of my touch repulsed you. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't mean it. I was numb. I didn't even know how far I had drifted. But I did, I said. I felt it every time you rolled away from me in bed. Every time I kissed you and got nothing back. And through all of it, I still loved you. She began to cry. I love you, she murmured. I know, I replied. But not the way I needed. Maybe not ever. When the bill came, I paid. Not to prove a point, but to leave with the same dignity I had clung to as our relationship fell apart. That night, she didn't sleep beside me. I heard her crying in the living room. And yes, it hurt, but not in the way it once did. I didn't feel the urge to hold her or comfort her. I just felt done. The next week, she kept trying. Made breakfast, left little notes, brought up therapy. She wanted to repair what had broken, but didn't realize I had already healed. Alone, silently, without her. 2 weeks later, we had our final talk. We sat on the porch at sunset. I'd just come back from a run. She brought me water and sat quietly. I don't know what else to do, she said. I feel like you're already gone. I looked at the horizon, then at her. You didn't lose me today. You lost me back when you stopped trying. When you turned away from me again and again. I gave you my time, my love, my loyalty, and you let it slip away, little by little. She stood, turned away, then looked back. Is there someone else? No, I said. But there will be. And when she comes, she won't see my love as a burden. I won't have to beg to be wanted. Her face crumpled. Are you leaving? I already did, I said. You just didn't notice. That weekend, I packed quietly. I folded every shirt. Left the key on the table. Took only what was mine. At the door, she stood in front of me. Her mascara streaked, eyes hollow. Please, she whispered. Don't go. I looked her in the eye, steady. I stayed when you didn't want me. Now that I've found peace, don't ask me to go back to pain. And I left. I drove to a friend's cabin by the lake. Alone. No messages, no buzzing phone, no tightness in my chest. That night, I looked up at the stars and slept deeper than I had in years. I woke up light. The next day, she texted. I'm sorry. Please come back. I can't sleep without you. I didn't reply. She called again and again. And that was the twist. This was the same woman who once recoiled from my kiss, now pleading for the very affection she threw away. But it wasn't revenge. It was growth. I wasn't the man who waited anymore. She had broken something, not just between us, but within me. And in putting myself back together, I found a version of me that refused to suffer for love again. So I walked away.